Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum. This is my project for the subject network routing. First, my name is Hanif bin MUJAHID. My metric number is D0319103449. I am from section S2G2. My lecturer is Puan Khadijah binti Muhammad Ghazali. The task that I have to do is troubleshoot IPv4 and IPv6 static and default routes. First, we go to the introduction. In this assignment, we'll identify about the laboratory exercise 16.3.2, which is troubleshoot IPv4 and IPv6 static and default routes that we use the packet tracer. Physical mode is PTBM. We will practice the following skill in this activity. For the part 1, we will to evaluate network operation, and part 2 we will be to collect information, create an action plan and implement corrections. Next is troubleshoot IPv4 and IPv6 static and default routes in lab 16.3.2. Was given a topology overview and an addressing table for each component in the topology that needed to be configured in the packet detector. Next, we go to the problem statement for this project. The problem are the changing in the network. The reason of the charge are the link to saturate, service provider get disconnect. The administrator may have entered an incorrect configuration and cause interface to snap or disconnect. The routers are AD set higher than default. Next, the default AD has been used and the used IP address may be incorrect. The IP address incorrect for the next jump. Next, we can see the addressing table for this project. In this table, we can see the device, interface, IP address, prefix, and default gateway. For the device that we have is R1, R2, PC1, PC2, PC3, and PC4. The objective for this project is for the part 1, evaluate network operation. For part 2 is gather information, create an action plan, and implement correction. Next, we go to the background and scenario. All the network device in this packet tracer physical mode (PTPM) activity have been pre-configured to include intentional errors that are preventing the network from routing as intended. Your task is to evaluate the network, identify and correct the configuration errors to restore full connectivity. You may find errors with the route statement or with the other configurations that impact to accuracy of the route statements. Note: the static routing approach used this activity is used to assess your ability to configure a different type of static routes only. This approach may not reflect networking best practice. Then we can see the instruction for the part 1 is evaluate network operation. In this part 1, we use the AND or tracer routes commands from the router to test the following criteria and record the result. Note: use the PC in the wiring closet to gain console access to networking device in order to explore and change the device configurations. For the first question is traffic from R1 to the 172.16.2.1 address on R2 use the next hop 192.168.0.14. In this command we use configuration terminal, um, no IP root 0.0.0.0.0.0.0.0 192.168.0.14 and 80. Then we use command IP root 0.0.0.0.0.0.0 192.168.0.14 to we replace it for the first command. Then we can see here we can have the 80. Next we go to the second question. Traffic from R1 to the 209.165.200.129 address on R2 use the next hook 192.168.0.30. For this command we use classless. This command is just same way with like the first question we use. Here we can see 192.168.0.30. For the third question is when the G0/0/0 interface on R1 is shut down, traffic from R1 to the 172.16.2.1 address on R2 use the next hop 192.168.0.30. Here we can see we use command no IP root 209.165.200.128 255.255.255.128 and 192.168.0.3, and we replace it with the next command is IP root 209.165.200.128 and 255.255.255.128 192.168.0.30. And for the fourth question, we can see we use the same way with the same way command we use at the question 1. We use conf term. No IPv4 routes /0 2001 db8 acad 190, and we replace it with IPv6 route /0 2001 db8 acad 1. And for the fifth question, traffic from out to the 2001 column dba column acad column 209 column 1 address on R1 use the next hook 2001 column db column acad column 16 column 1. Here we can see that have two common working here and the command we use is same as at the first question. We use conf term. That no IPv6 route /0 2001 db8 ACAD /190, and we use IPv4 routes 0 2001 db8 ACAD /1, and this is just same as we used at the first. And for the last question is, when the G0/0/0 interface on R2 is shut down, traffic from R2 to the 2001 db8 ACAD 171 1 address on R1 use the next hoop 211 db8 ACAD 16 1. And in this question, we also use the same way like the past question we made. In this question, we can see no IPv6 rules /0 2001 db8 ACAD 15 1, and we replace it with IPv6 routes /0 2001 db8 ACAD 16 1 and 80. So that's all for the part 1, and next we go to the part 2. Part 2 is gather information, create an action plan, and implement correction. And this is the question. Okay, as now we can see the ping for IPv6 ping in command prompt. In this command prompt, we can see ping for PC2, PC3, and PC4. And this is IPv6 ping command prompt. In this command prompt, we can see IPv6 ping for PC2, PC3, and also PC4. Last but not least, this is my conclusion for this project. Based on the troubleshooting lab has provided knowledge on how to evaluate network operation by changing the configuration to make the appropriate next hook address for each existing router. So that's all from me, and thank you.